dolor no hay gloria. El Primo. You lose. El campeón.
What is up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to play El Primo. El Primo, for a lot of players, used to be one of the most overpowered brawlers in the game. He's still good, but you definitely won't see him as often as you used to. The reason for this is because players mainly got used to his spacing, which means that it's more difficult for Primo to do his job in high trophy games. Primo has a ridiculously short range on his attack, which hurts him a lot. If you know where Primo is at all times, you can almost always avoid him or take him out with ease. That said, Primo is exceptional at close range fights, and if you can charge up his super, he can easily run down unsuspecting or escaping opponents, and his health is second to none. He's basically the premier tank of Brawl Stars. In Heist, Primo has a lot of value. He can take quite a few hits, which means if you can manage to get him to the safe on offense or to the opposing team on defense, he'll put in a lot of work. His super is also destructive, which allows him to open up obstacles, making the safe easier to get to or easier to defend, and he allows long-range brawlers on his team to sit in the background and grab easy kills from the distance. That said, Bull is usually used in place of Primo in Heist, mainly because of his additional range and quicker close-range damage. In Smash and Grab, Primo used to be almost unmatched. Nobody wanted to go up against him, and he was on almost every single team. As the general player base improved, however, Primo became more and more unused in Smash and Grab. Now, brawlers with a high skill ceiling litter the game mode, and Primo is often ignored in favor of teams with more mobility right off the bat. That said, if the Smash and Grab map you're playing on has a lot of cover for Primo to hide in, or you're functioning almost solely as a tank, which means basically you're not relying on him for a lot of damage output, he can definitely do a lot of work. This is especially true if you're playing aggressively, because sometimes it'll catch the opponent off guard, which means they won't be able to outspace you in time. Showdown used to be Primo's best mode by far. The entire game mode was basically rampant with aggressive Primos hiding in bushes. Now, since people are used to Primo and how he works in general, you're most likely gonna have a pretty difficult time playing him in Showdown. If you can quickly pick up a few power-ups at the beginning of a match, you'll probably be able to hold your own, but towards the end of the match, you'll almost always have issues with mid and long-range brawlers. The one exception to this is Feast or Famine, where you're likely going to be able to completely hide in the middle of the map and catch most opponents completely off guard. If you have multiple power-ups at that point, very few brawlers can react fast enough to win the fight. In my experience, Bounty is an absolutely terrible game mode for Primo. In theory, he'll act as a bullet sponge, but sometimes close in on opponents or allow long-range brawlers to do their job while tanking shots for him. In reality though, Primo largely just acts as a bullet sponge and dies. Multiple Piper bullets and cold attacks coupled with the burst damage Brock and Ricochet can output makes him just a tanky moving target. The best strategy with Primo used to be to initiate every fight you can, hide in bushes and bide your time, because lower HP brawlers would always walk a little bit too close to the bushes and fall right into your trap. In lower trophy games, this is still a perfect strategy, but in higher trophy games, people have wised up to traditional Primo gameplay. Now, in higher trophy games, you're going to need to be able to react to shots without giving away your cover, or you're going to find yourself in the useless bullet sponge role. With that said, you should be able to flip your game plan like a switch, because once Primo can rush down opponents with his super, very few brawlers can hold their own at a close range. Going fully aggressive with Primo in every game mode doesn't work past a certain point anymore, but in some situations, you're going to find yourself acing the enemy team and feeling great about it. Now let's go over a few brawlers Primo does well with. I think it goes without saying that in Heist, Primo should be the tank. Like most tanky brawlers, Primo can deal serious damage to the safe or defend it with ease in any close range environment, so you're going to want brawlers like Colt, Dynamite, and Barley to help you cover your long range. In Smash and Grab, Primo does well as a support tank primarily. He can output a lot of damage, and in a lot of situations you'll want to deviate from just acting as support, but brawlers like Mortis and Crow are better suited for carrying gems, so you'll almost always want to take away from the damage they're taking while also attracting the attention of the enemy team. Shelly, Piper, and Colt all do a great job as primary damage outputs for your team as well. If they're going after you, they're not going after the other two members of your team, which is the line of thinking you're probably going to want to start to take with Primo in higher trophy matches. So let's say you really enjoy Primo, but you don't have the elixir to max him out. In what order should you upgrade him? Primo's attack is amazing when it's maxed out. At 100 damage per punch, he outputs 400 damage in only one attack. This means that you can super into a fight, hit only 2 attacks, and take out most of the brawlers in the game. Also, when Primo's attack is maxed, it only takes him 4 attacks to break a crate instead of the 5 it usually takes. It actually breaks a crate with 4 attacks at level 5, so if that's what you're trying to do, maybe you don't need to max him out. But really, do it anyways because it's that good. Next up, max out Primo's HP. He's first and foremost the premier tank of Brawl Stars, so getting a massive 350 health when he's maxed out for a total of 1,750 is ridiculous. Because of how significantly Primo's role has changed in recent months compared to when the game was first released, I almost put HP first, but if you find yourself playing Primo only as a tanky support, I'd fully expect you to max out his HP first. Finally, max out his super. Most of the time, his super is going to be used for the mobility it provides and not the damage, but having extra AoE damage on any brawler is a plus, so go for it. 50 extra damage doesn't sound like much for 6 levels, but in a team fight scenario, that can hit every enemy, meaning it's actually a 150 plus damage boost and something you shouldn't just ignore. But yeah, guys, that's going to be about it for this one. To vote on next week's guide, head over to my Twitter, which is linked down in the description below, and vote in the poll, which will be pinned at the top of the page. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope to see you back here for the next video very, very shortly, and until the next one, peace.